everybody. My name is Sasha and I'm here to do another video, and this video is going to be dedicated to, you know, what do you do now that you have a baby? What do you do, with the time that you have with this baby? Especially for newborns, because when they're born, they are like little vegetables. They don't really have much of a personality. They don't know how to follow along with the story, or they don't really know what the hell you're saying. They're just big vehicles of, giving and receiving love. That's the language they know. And they just want to be nurtured and taken care of, and they want to feel safe and loved. That's it, right? So some of us have the luxury of taking some time off and being with our babies. And if you have that luxury, you find yourself, kind of in this place of, well, what do I do? And I think a lot of us start to become a little obsessive about perhaps cleaning the house, because there is a lot of time of in the day, and we're, those of us who come from backgrounds of perhaps work or different schedules, if this is your first baby and you don't know what to expect, you're coming from a background of what the hell is this? And you start to fill up your day, with like, oh my God, I gotta do all these things because you're at home. And, all of a sudden we're stressing about washing the floor and washing laundry or making meals, whatever it is. And kind of not taking care of ourselves, perhaps not taking the naps that we need to be taking when the baby's napping. One big piece of advice that everybody kept telling me was, when the baby sleeps, sleep. And I'm going to repeat that. When the baby sleeps, get your body in that bed and knock out. When the babies are very young, every 2-3 hours or so, they're eating. Every 3 hours they're eating and sleeping. So you kind of have this time to hang out together, feed, and then there's the sleep portion. And I remember, and I think it was Theodore was about 3 months or maybe 2 months, and I was just, I was stressing a lot. I was having a lot of anxiety about doing it right or wrong, and I was stressing because I couldn't figure out if I was feeding him enough. I was breastfeeding, so you can't really measure that, and I couldn't tell how much I was feeding him, and it was taking a long time because I think he was suckling on me. I was just his human pacifier for a lot of it, but I was struggling, and then my mother came over, and she like watched the baby, cooked 3 meals, and washed dishes and helped me wash the floors, and all this happened while she was watching him. And I was like, what the hell is going on? How is she doing that? And basically she taught me about leaving the baby just to hang out with himself. She taught me about creating spaces. So what that means is, as the baby's growing, there's he or she has his areas. When they're very young, one area is the crib. One area could be maybe like a bouncy chair or like a, one of those moo rider things. And another one could be, like another, like a sleeper, little bed on the couch or whatnot. So So basically, what she did was she would put him in one of the areas, like the crib, and he's got his mobile and he's hanging out with himself or herself. And she would, cook and look in and have a small little interaction, like, a couple of words or a couple of sounds, check in, and then go back to the cooking. And she was able to kind of like multitask without stressing herself out. While meanwhile, I'm like staring at the baby like I don't want to miss a moment. You know, I don't want to mess this up. That's the anxiety that I was experiencing. And then, and then she would move him to the little bouncy chair, and he would sit there, and she would put the bouncy chair on the table in the kitchen so he could look at her as she was cooking, and she would turn around and I adopted this method of moving the baby into different areas, especially when they're like a little vegetable and they don't know how to turn, how to do anything, crawl, nothing. They're just, they barely know how to turn their head and stuff. So moving them to different areas and allowing yourself to do the things that you need to do and not stressing about constantly watching them. Okay. Now that Theodore is 10 months old, one of his areas is his little playpen. And I highly encourage you to do this. It's a pretty big area. I'm very bad with dimensions, but like enough for me to lie down in. Okay. And I'm like 5'7", so, definitely bigger than my height and, about as wide as my arm length. So he's got his toys in there and it's all safe. I don't have to worry about it. He holds on to the bars and actually has really began walking, I think, sooner because he was holding on and jumping and walking. And that's one of his areas. And when he's in there, he's playing by himself. And I want to stress the importance of a baby being by themselves. We as parents have to leave them alone when they're by themselves, looking around, listening, touching things. They are having their own thoughts, uninterrupted. Their imaginations are able to wander, and they're able to have creative thoughts. And there's been research on this that a lot of creativity stems from this. You're basically giving them permission to play in their minds. We all know about daydreaming. You're giving them permission to daydream. So we have one rule in the house. When people come over, I'm very strict about this rule. If Theodore is playing in his castle, we call it, if he's playing, you do not interrupt. Okay, do not project your own feelings onto this child, because when you see a child in like a little cage, you're like, oh, poor baby. Oh, let me go. Oh, no. First of all, he's not screaming. He's not yelling. He doesn't even know you exist. He doesn't know you exist until you come over, projecting all those feelings onto him. So the one rule in the house is when he's playing, you leave him alone. You don't even come up to him because you're going to distract him from his play. So yeah, areas, have the areas. Also now, we put him into like this little bouncy chair. So when he's in his bouncy chair, he's just bouncing and having fun with the little toys there. Another one is like the chair that kind of has wheels on it. That's another little area. So always have like 3 areas where you could place him. So as you have to run around the house, that's a safe spot that you could leave him in. Right now, Theodore is starting to walk, and obviously he's the master crawler. So if I have to, run upstairs, I don't really feel comfortable anymore leaving him just crawling around. I'll put him in one of these areas, and I feel safe about, running to grab the laundry or whatever. So that was a big thing to witness. It really relieved my anxiety, because I was staring at this baby hard, like I don't want to miss a thing, and I was just driving myself crazy. So thanks, Mom. She's got some wisdom. And I remember having this feeling like I remember searching on YouTube like what to do with a baby. Because I didn't know what to do. He's too young to read books. He just keeps eating them, and he doesn't really know how to draw. At a certain age, you could interact in certain activities. But even though he doesn't read the books, book time is playtime, and even if it's like 30 seconds before he starts to eat the book, those 30 seconds is me pointing at something or, calling something by its name or flipping the page. And guess what? Like, he's picking that stuff up. He's picking the flipping the page thing. Now he's doing that himself. All of a sudden he's pointing. Soon he'll be able to say the words or whatnot. So that is an interactive thing you can do, even though it seems completely pointless. And there's a million and one interactive type of games about object permanence and peekaboos and all the stuff. But when they're really young and you're like, I don't know what to do, have your areas so that you can place the baby down and not feel like you have to hold this baby the whole time. Leave the baby alone to have their own creative thoughts. Don't hover like a helicopter. We call them helicopter moms for a reason, right? No judgment, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, that really helped me. Hope that helps you. And remember that you're a great, great mom and a great, great dad. And you're doing the best